Guys, so here's part 2 of the video. So I'll go a little bit more in depth into the Android settings and talk a little bit about the backup camera that I have installed. Also, I'm sorry that the screen has been kind of crappy quality in these videos. The resolution of the screen is good. Actually, it's actually pretty darn good. You know, it's not retina or whatever, but still better than I expected. Because usually that's where these companies like to cheap out, is on the LCD display. So anyway, moving on to settings. So you got basically all of your standard Android settings: Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. I don't know if I mentioned it already, but my Bluetooth, it works fine for everything except for audio quality, streaming off my phone. It's a little bit tinny sounding, which is a little disappointing. But some sound settings. There you go. You could turn off keytones if you wanted to. So change volume. Got some display settings: brightness, wallpaper, and wireless display. So yes, this does have support for wireless display. You can use the screen mirroring thing, I believe. Screenshot settings. So I guess you can take screenshots as well. Storage. I believe this has like 8 total storage space. 5.6 gigabytes. There's not a whole lot of space on here, so don't expect to put too much stuff on the device itself. Use expanded storage for that. And then you have your app settings, which, you know, if you've used Android before, you know. Yeah. Security, language input, backup, and reset. You can add an account. Have it integrate with your Google account. Date and time settings, some accessibility settings. Yep. And then you have some nice car settings. So these are things specific to this little device here, and you can have the GPS on all the time if you want. My GPS module, it's a little black box about the size of like a ring box, and if you just put some double back tape on it, I put it underneath my Japan parts AC console thing. Driving safety, you could, by default, I believe watching a video while driving is off. Yeah, so for my backup camera to get that to work when I was not just in park, I had to enable that. Here's some audio settings. So again, you can uncheck or check the loud button up there. You can also change the balance and the positioning of those speakers with this crosshair thing. It's dragging, you can drag it all around. Honestly, I think it's kind of like, if you put it down here, then that means sound will only come out of the speakers and the what is that, passenger side rear speaker. So I don't know if you're into that. I guess you could, you know, mess around with it. And there's also some more granular EQ settings here. There's some presets. And you can also do custom if you want. Put that back to flat. Honestly, if you really want to tweak around with EQ stuff, I would suggest downloading yourself a nice music app. The one I use is PowerAmp. PowerAmp works great with this. It finds my music every single time I boot up because it has that like automatic library scanning feature. Works well for playing in the car too, because if you want to go to next and previous track, this dial doesn't work for it, but you can swipe like that, which is cool. And there's a lot of settings within PowerAmp. PowerAmp, I think it's like a $3 app. Totally worth it if you're an Android user. Let's go back to settings. This is an about, gives you the Android version and the build date. Mine was January 15th, 2015. That's cool. Factory reset, I guess, requires a password. This thing's pretty awesome. I love it. If it broke today, would I go out and buy another one? Yeah. It's pretty cool. It strikes a good balance between, if you're a tinkerer and you like this electronics stuff, you could definitely play around with the settings, maybe even root your device. But if you're also a person who just wants to plug stuff in and make it go. This also works pretty well for that too. Again, the only issues that you really have to watch out for would be the clock, and that's as simple as unplugging and replugging your battery. Oh, also, I don't think I mentioned, this widget up here also cannot be gotten rid of. This is shows the time, and then like if you have the radio on, it shows the radio. If you have a DVD playing, it shows the DVD play pause stuff there. Yeah. So I'm going to show you guys my backup camera installed. So I'll post a link in the video description. It's an eSky or Esky $18 backup camera that I got from Amazon. Eonon has their own version. I think it's a bit more money. I don't know what it offers versus this cheap one, but if we go to AVN, let's see, it's my neighbor's house. The quality's okay. They say it's color. It's barely color, but it works. Also, the resolution of this, of not the camera, but of this display is 800 by 421 or something like that. So it's not too bad. So this is wired up through, you got to run 3 wires total. You have to run data up to the unit there. You have to run power, and you have to get a ground. So I have power and data going up here because the power, a lot of people put it onto their reverse lights. I actually just put it, the camera focus, I just put it onto my cigarette lighter, so it's always on, hence why the camera's on right now, even though the vehicle is not on and in park. And I ran it through just a bunch of the plastic parts. These all lift up pretty easy. Goes through that one. I have a hatchback, so it made life really easy. I ran it through in here, and then you can take off side panel here. You can see there's my ground. You can see some of the other wires there, which go down underneath the bumper to the camera. If you guys want, I could do an installation video on that. It was pretty easy. Yeah, there's some like infrared sensors on that too, so it works okay in the night. Honestly, there's a light above the license plate, and that kind of screws up the lighting of the camera, but it still works. Okay, so I think that just about does it for part 2 of my video. Again, please, if you guys have questions, ask them. I'm here to help. And thank you guys for watching my review of the Eonon GA5151 Android hen unit.